What's up guys, Tanner here. That's right, today we're going to be covering the top 10 anime of all time. Starting at the top of the list is Sword Art Online. Now, I know what you're thinking. But Tanner, this is such a meme anime. How can this be at the top of the list? And I think that's because it's such an iconic series and has amazing sequels. In the year 2022, virtual reality has progressed by leaps and bounds, and a massive online role-playing game called Sword Art Online, or SAO, is launched. With the aid of nerve gear technology, players can control their avatars within the game using nothing but their own thoughts. Kazuto Kirigaya, nicknamed Kirito, is among the lucky few enthusiasts who get their hands on the first shipment of the game. He logs in to find himself with 10,000 others in the scenic and elaborate world of Aincrad, full of fantastic medieval weapons and gruesome monsters. However, in a cruel turn of events, the players soon realize they cannot log out. The game's creator has trapped them in this new world until they complete all 100 levels of the game. In order to escape Aincrad, Kirito will now have to interact and cooperate with his fellow players. Some are allies, while others are foes, like Asuna Yuki, who commands the leading group attempting to escape from the ruthless game. To make matters worse, Sword Art Online is not all fun and games. If they die in Aincrad, they die in real life. Kirito must adapt to his new reality, fight for his survival, and hopefully break free from this virtual hell. Number 9. Death Note. I wasn't sure if I was going to put Death Note on this list as there's so many good animes out there, but for what it is, I decided to throw it at the number 9 spot. High school student and prodigy Light Yagami stumbles upon the Death Note, and since he deplores the state of the world, tests the deadly notebook by writing a criminal's name in it. When the criminal dies immediately following his experiment with the Death Note, Light is greatly surprised and quickly recognizes how devastating the power that has fallen into his hands could be. With this divine capability, Light decides to extinguish all criminals in order to build a new world where crime does not exist and people worship him as a god. Police, however, quickly discover that a serial killer is targeting criminals and consequently try to apprehend the culprit. To do this, the Japanese investigators count on the assistance of the best detective in the world, a young and eccentric man known only by the name of L. Number 8. Re:Zero, starting life in another world. Let me just say, this is one of my favorite isekai of all time. Great plot, great characters, and great best girls. Hashtag Amelia's best girl. When Subaru Natsuki leaves the convenience store, the last thing he expects is to be wrenched away from his everyday life and dropped into a fantasy world. Things aren't looking good for the bewildered teenager. However, not long after his arrival, he is attacked by some thugs. Armed with only a bag of groceries and now a useless cell phone, he is quickly beaten to a pulp. Fortunately, a mysterious beauty named Satella, in hot pursuit after the one who stole her insignia, happens upon Subaru and saves him. In order to thank the honest and kind-hearted girl, Subaru offers to help in her search, and later that night, he even finds the whereabouts of that which she seeks. But unknown to them, a much darker force stalks the pair from the shadows, and just minutes after locating the insignia, Subaru and Satella are brutally murdered. However, Subaru immediately reawakens to a familiar scene. Confronted by the same group of thugs, meeting Satella all over again, the enigma deepens as history inexplicably repeats itself. Number 7. Demon Slayer. Just watching this anime visually caused me to fall in love with the stunning animation. Add on badass characters, killing demons with swords, a cute demon girl, and an amazing soundtrack, and we have a winner. Ever since the death of his father, the burden of supporting the family has fallen upon Tanjiro Kamado's shoulders. Though living impoverished on a remote mountain, the Kamado family are able to enjoy a relatively peaceful and happy life. One day, Tanjiro decides to go down to the local village to make a little money selling charcoal. On his way back, night falls, forcing Tanjiro to take shelter in the house of a strange man. This man warns him of the existence of flesh-eating demons that lurk in the woods at night. Finally, when he arrives back home the next day, he is met with a horrifying sight. his whole family had been slaughtered. Worse still, the sole survivor is his sister Nezuko, who had been turned into a bloodthirsty demon. Consumed by rage and hatred, Tanjiro swears to avenge his family and stay by his only remaining sibling. He decides to ally himself with the mysterious group calling themselves the Demon Slayer Corps. Tanjiro will do whatever it takes to slay the demons and protect the remnants of his beloved sister's humanity. Number 6. Hunter x Hunter. This is an older anime that I actually watched recently, and oh boy was I actually missing out. Lovable characters, great power scaling, and a story that always grabs your attention. Hunter x Hunter is set in a world where hunters exist to perform all manners of dangerous tasks, like capturing criminals and bravely searching for lost treasures in uncharted territories. 12-year-old Gon Freaks is determined to become the best hunter possible in hopes of finding his father, who was a hunter himself and had long ago abandoned his young son. However, Gon soon realizes that the path to achieving his goals is far more challenging than he could have ever imagined. Along the way to becoming an official hunter, Gon befriends the lively doctor-in-training Leorio, vengeful Kurapika, and rebellious ex-assassin Killua. To attain their own goals and desires, together, the four of them take on the hunter exam, notorious for its low success rate and high probability of death. Throughout their journey, Gon and his friends embark on an adventure that puts them through many hardships and struggles. They will meet a plethora of monsters, creatures, and characters, all while learning what being a hunter truly means. Number 5. My Hero Academia. Superheroes meet anime. Shonen, but with a superhero society, what's not to love? The appearance of quirks, or newly discovered superpowers, had been steadily increasing over the years, with 80% of humanity possessing various abilities from manipulation of elements to shapeshifting. This leaves the remainder of the world completely powerless, and Izuku Midoriya is one such individual. Number 4. Attack on Titan. This is one of my all-time favorite animes, and it just keeps getting better with every season. Amazing premise, the story gets better every single season, and the final season is just right around the corner. Centuries ago, mankind was slaughtered to near extinction by monstrous humanoid creatures called Titans, forcing humans to hide in fear behind enormous walls. What made these giants truly terrifying is that their taste for human flesh is not born out of hunger, but what appears to be of pleasure. To ensure their survival, the remnants of humanity began living within these enormous walls, resulting in 100 years without a single Titan encounter. However, that fragile calm is soon shattered when a colossal Titan manages to breach the supposedly impregnable outer wall, reigniting the fight for survival against the man-eating abominations. After witnessing a horrific personal loss at the hands of the invading creatures, Eren Yeager dedicates his life to their eradication by enlisting into the Survey Corps, an elite military unit that combats the merciless humanoids outside the protection of the walls. Number 3. Your Name. Kimi no Na wa, or Your Name, is my favorite animated film of all time. Comedy, love, adventure, it has it all. Combine all that with the amazing soundtrack and beautiful animation, Your Name is truly a work of art. Mitsuha Miyomizu is a high school girl living in the countryside town of Itomori. She yearns for a life in Tokyo as she is sick of living in the countryside. At the same time, Taki Tachibana, a high school student, lives in Tokyo and has great interest in architecture and aiming to become an urban planner in the near future. One day, Mitsuha dreams of herself as a boy living a life in the dense capital, while Taki dreams of living as a girl in the rural town of Itomori. As time passes by, the two discover that these are not just dreams, but they're actually swapping bodies every time they fall asleep. Number 2. Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. I almost put this at the number 1 spot because Naruto has a special place in my heart. I grew up watching Naruto since I was a kid, but that isn't what makes it good. Amazing plot, fantastic world building, relatable characters, and amazing shonen fights makes this anime truly spectacular. Moments prior to Naruto Uzumaki's birth, a huge demon known as the Kyuubi, or Nine-Tailed Fox, attacks the Hidden Leaf Village and wreaks havoc. In order to put an end to the Kyuubi's rampage, the leader of the village, the 4th Hokage, sacrifices his life and seals the monstrous beast inside the newborn Naruto. Now, 12 years later, Naruto is still living in the Hidden Leaf village. Shunned because of the Kyuubi inside of him, Naruto struggles to find his place in the village, while his burning desire to become the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf village leads him not only to meet some great new friends, but also leads him to some deadly foes. Believe it. Number 1. Fullmetal Alchemist, Brotherhood. Relatable characters, fantastic plot, great animation, great soundtrack, and this anime has it all. It's at the top of the list because it is simply the best. This was a really hard decision, but I think it is the right choice. I watched this anime recently for the very first time, and after years of growing up watching tons of other anime, I still thought this was the best series I've ever watched. Alchemy is bound by this law of equivalent exchange, something the young brothers Edward and Alphonse Eric only realized after attempting human transmutation. The one forbidden act of alchemy. They pay a terrible price for their transgression. Edward loses his leg, and Alphonse his entire body. It is only by the desperate sacrifice of Edward's right arm that he is able to affix Alphonse's soul to a suit of armor. Devastated and alone, it is the hope that they would both eventually return to their original bodies that gives Edward the inspiration to obtain metal limbs called Automil and become a state alchemist, the Fullmetal Alchemist. 3 years of searching later, the brothers seek the Philosopher's Stone, a mythic relic that allows an alchemist to overcome the law of equivalent exchange. Even with the military allies Colonel Roy Mustang, Lieutenant Risa Hawkeye, and Lieutenant Colonel Maze Hughes on their side, the brothers find themselves caught up in a nationwide conspiracy that leads them not only to the true nature of the elusive Philosopher's Stone, but their country's murky history as well. In between finding a serial killer and racing against time, Edward and Alphonse must ask themselves if what they are doing will make them human again, or if it will take away their humanity. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel with notifications on so you don't miss out on my future videos. If you want to see tutorials, classes, and skills that I teach, feel free to check out my Skillshare page. If you'd like to support me directly through my Patreon, the link's in the description down below. Thanks for watching, peace.